central point of this, the ledger of record is basically you have crypto oracles. So it's like some actually entities or some people who have accrued certain reputation because they're providing like reliable feeds of data, you know. So it's like a oracle providing the feeds of data, and you can check them on chain, you know, like that actually this person or this wallet did this, or they posted these, they had this amount of money at this point, or they sent this type of transaction. Now it's kind of sounds just like too abstract maybe, or just constrained to financial data and transactions, but it will be like kind of getting more and more mainstream, you know, like imagine like a crypto Twitter, you know, becoming normal. And then you will have also like basically it will change the media landscape, and and you will get like cryptographically verifiable news.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo's Desk podcast. My name is Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Ozesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I will be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, The Ledger of Record, under the Daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jürgen. I'm happy to see you again.
Yeah. Well, Jakub, what's your take on Balaji Srinivasan's idea of the ledger of record as a better alternative to the paper of record?
Right. So like Balaji says, Balaji Srinivasan has this concept of the ledger of record that he introduced also in like a separate kind of lecture for Chainlink audience. And it's basically the idea is to replace the argument from authority with the argument from cryptography. So it's a play on word kind of. It's connecting the paper of record, so the NYT, and replacing it with the ledger of record. So it's like the ledger, the blockchain ledger, and connected with the paper of record. So it's basically is concept of crypto history, where you can verify, or it's like cryptographically verifiable macro history, meaning like you can actually verify who, when, and what, you know, to who sent what money to whom. Let's say with the BTC, with the Bitcoin blockchain, and it's kind of like the first example of crypto history because it's like distributed, it's uncensorable, and very hard to tamper with. You know, you would need to like accomplish this 51% attack or something, you know, but still the ledger itself is like saved on so many computers, probably is in space as well, you know, so it's difficult to delete, you know, because if you have like just like let's say some books or some papers, or it's published on social media, or it's published on some websites, you know, this can be like deleted, cancelled, tampered with, altered. But like with blockchains, you know, the record is like more permanent or more stable, or something like much more, you know, and it's cryptographically verifiable. So it's not like, let's say, some priest, like a modern priest, let's say some authority from some institution or some like establishment, let's say a media journalist, or some kind of like a scientist, or someone just like proclaiming, some public official just proclaiming something from the authority, but it's basically it's like cryptographically verifiable. And mostly it's on the level of metadata, meaning like who sent what amount to whom currently, but this scope is expanding rapidly of what can be actually proved by cryptography. It's expanding, let's say, by proof of location, proof of identity, proof of reserves. And with decentralized social media, we will get like feeds and feeds of posts, like we have now Twitter, but imagine like decentralized Twitter. So, and this will become much more feasible. And the central point of this, the ledger of record is basically you have crypto oracles. So it's like some actually entities or some people who have accrued certain reputation because they're providing like reliable feeds of data, so it's like a oracle providing the feeds of data, and you can check them on chain, like that actually this person or this wallet did this, or they posted these, they had this amount of money at this point, or they sent this type of transaction. Now it's kind of sounds just like too abstract maybe, or just constrained to financial data and transactions, but it will be like kind of getting more and more mainstream, like imagine like a crypto Twitter, becoming normal. And then you will have also like basically it will change the media landscape, and you will get like cryptographically verifiable news, something like that.
Okay, that's a great point, Jakub. And I think it's important to note that in a world where information is constant being manipulated for political or financial gain, having a decentralized and a secure source of information is crucial. Well, speaking of oracles, but I'd suggest that the news making process will split into two functions, oracle and advocates. What are your thoughts on this idea?
Yeah, I mean it's important because like currently we are like back in the future, meaning like before in the 90s, in the early 2000s, we had this like neutral type of journalism, this kind of like point out the viewpoint out of nowhere kind of journalism, where the media tried to be like neutral and also to sound neutral. They had this kind of neutral tone. They were like about those things, just like impartial observers. But with the arrival of social media, and also there is these graphs like the great media disruption, the media revenues collapsed, and they basically returned to the model of so-called yellow journalism, which is like more politically biased or kind of tabloid journalism. So it's like the previous form of media, so we are kind of living in the past. And like it's like this circular, or I mean helical theory of history, so like, okay, we have social media, which is completely new technology, digitally native technology, but we have also like these old style kind of media with where the quality of their reporting deteriorated. And so the distinction between like facts and narratives kind of blurred. You have loads of these like a lot of these commentaries on things, and they're like Russell conjugated, like they have like, you can say you can put like a positive, neutral, or negative spin onto like anything, like literally anything. And Balaji says that actually Russell conjugation is like an org chart embedded in language, meaning like it kind of the journalist tells you like who is in charge and who should be in charge, so it's like basically I mean they can put like these colorful words and this like spin into the reporting. And with the advocates and with oracles, you are kind of trying to again make the split between facts, like you have like a layer of facts, and then you can do your advocacy on top of that. So the facts, it's something like the news wire, or I mean the wire service, like the AP, the Reuters, and but the difference is that you can also check it on chain that, okay, actually this person reported this, or let's say this weather sensor reported this on this temperature in this location at this time, and it was like recorded on chain. Or let's say you have some camera feeds, different ways how to like get facts, and also like people just reporting what they observed, and they have some kind of reputation kind of rating. So it's like, yeah, I mean, this oracle problem in crypto is still not solved as far as I know, like, but like it's kind of down to the reputation of those oracles. But at least those things can be put on chain, and they are very hard to tamper with once they're on chain. So that's like the thing. And then you can have advocates, like meaning people, let's say, who want to pursue some kind of agenda, but at least you have this layer of facts that is kind of like less mutable, or more immutable now, like with these crypto oracles and this like the ledger of record kind of concept. And then you have like the wrappers around tweets, but imagine like wrappers around crypto tweets or something, where you can provide your narrative now as an advocate for a certain viewpoint or a certain ideology.
Oh, that's a great point, Jakub. And I think it's important to note that the role of oracles will be become increasingly important in a world where the public relies on technology for information. But also Balaji mentions that the downstream media often changes narrative based on political convenience or tribal logic rather than facts. Maybe you can briefly explain about that belief.
Right, so it's like I think a useful concept is Baudrillard's simulacra. So you have like various levels of like simulacra. It's like depends, like you can play like 4D chess, like you can be like on various levels of actually a narrative, or like, you know, like the first level is just like you're observing the truth, you know. So let's say you're saying that the lion is across the river, and you actually mean that the lion is across the river, you know. And then that's like the level 1 of simulacra. Then you have like level 2, and you are saying like the lion is across the river, but what you mean is like you shouldn't cross the river because there is a lion, you know. It's like you want to change the behavior of people, you want to manipulate the behavior of people. Then you have like level 3, where again you say like the lion is across the river, but basically what you mean is like you are part of a tribe that believes that there is a lion across the river, and you want to be part of the cool kids who are saying this kind of thing, you know. And then you can have a level 4 actually of this, where you say again the lion is across the river, but what you actually mean that you are a politician that kind of evaluated that this kind of saying scores well with his constituency, so he will get more votes when he says this thing, you know. So it's like 4 kind of levels, and they can be like summarized into like I am able to perceive reality, then I am capable of manipulating behavior, then I belong to a tribe of some people, and then I was like I can manipulate tribes. So it's like 4 levels, you know. And like with the COVID reporting, for example, we could see that many of these discussions are actually happening on the level 3 and level 4, meaning like if Trump argues one point, let's say he's very scared of what he says, the China virus, you know, at the beginning, what he called the China virus, then the media who are like against Trump, they were like very relaxed about about the virus, and they were downplaying the risk, you know, at the very early, you know, in January, February, you know, like January 2020. Which is actually quite dangerous, you know. And Balaji says that was like he was thinking like, are the media evil or stupid? And then he kind of figured out maybe they're stupid, because this is like a win, not a win-lose kind of relationship, but it's like lose-lose, you know, because it's like if you are downplaying the risk, you might get hurt as well. It's not just a game. It's like something really serious. So it shouldn't be just like, let's say, a politician who is like a person we don't like, let's say, or some people don't like, let's say, like Trump being a populist or something, and you are trying to just say the opposite what he's saying. So when he was like very scared of the virus and he wanted to close the country, they were like saying, no, we should have the I don't know, this parade, we should be open, we should I don't know, it's just the flu.
Yeah.
then when the positions reversed, then they were like super scared and super like strict, even after, let's say, the vaccines were already here they were still pursuing lockdowns, and it was all like this virtue signaling and the masks. And with the masks it was kind of the same. At the beginning the masks didn't work before they did work. The beginning,
Yeah.
the officials, the public health officials, they saw that there is a shortage of this like PPE, was like the protective personal protective equipment. So they were kind of like trying to actually manipulate the behavior of masses, meaning like, the masks probably don't work, so you shouldn't hoard them, you shouldn't buy them, which was like a good intent, but it's actually unethical, because then it backfired. And then basically like all these like skeptics or something, I don't know, or the like more conservative people, they were like basically just saying the same things that the other guys were saying like 3 months ago. So it was like back and forth, and which is like really strange. Of course, like facts change, or like our understanding of facts might change. Also, this is true with masks. Like they're probably not, they were not like 100% protection, and actually once you are in like a small room filled with sick people, like you can get sick also when you are wearing a mask. So that's my understanding now. But definitely masks help somehow, like they must help, because otherwise, doctors are wearing them. So it's just
during,
like they were
during surgical
wearing them.
operations.
Yeah, they were wearing them before, but it's like nothing is like 100%. And the same thing, let's say, with vaccines, the Kamala Harris like was saying like she will not take the Trump vaccine, or like we discussed this before, like I don't know, like let's say in Slovakia we had like people were skeptical about these like Chinese and Russian vaccines, but then they were pushing like the American vaccines, which it's like kind of inconsistent. That's what I'm saying. It's just like if it's you are in the middle of winter and people are dying, and I think you should not force people to take any vaccine, but you should like just give them more options. So if it's like let's say these Chinese or Russian vaccines, let's say the Eastern vaccines are available, or let's say some Indian vaccines, so you should ship those as soon as possible, and let people decide, like consult with their doctors and let them decide, and not wait until summer when, let's say, we will have the other vaccines for everyone. And and then there was, it was kind of like, now we can ask like, what was kind of the point of getting vaccinated in summer when when like the cases were milder in summer, and so it's kind of like this is just like one example of one example of kind of inconsistencies that I think it was important to get the vaccines as fast as possible, let's say with challenge trials, and to have as many vaccines as possible. So and to give people choice to choose, like but sorry for the I was just but this was like this is like an example that the bad feed can kill us. Basically, the bad news feeds can kill us. Meaning like we need better quality information, and this means like maybe less tribalism. It's like and more fact checking and level and talking about the level of facts, like so it's like this first level of like, okay, there is an actual alliance across the river, or there is actually actual truth, like let's say Balaji talks about technical truth versus political truth. So it's like technical truth is like the diameter of a virus, let's say, or something like that, you know, just like something very technical, which you can actually observe, you can prove, you can measure. And then there are some political truth, you know, like which are true when many people believe in them. Let's say the certain position of a national border or something like that. And then there is like something like crypto, which is like kind of in the middle of these like political and technical truth, because crypto is also like technical, you know, like cryptography, but it's also like for a price of Bitcoin to be high, many people need to believe in Bitcoin. So it's like kind of in the middle of these two. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great perspective, Jakub. And I think it's important to note that the ledger of record can provide a solution of the problem of misinformation and fake news, which is becoming an increasingly pressing issue in our world today. Yes.
Yeah, partially. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can still like probably get some like facts wrong, of course, like let's say some Oracle can misreport something, but at least you get like the metadata correct. Like it's difficult to alter. You can't like delete that news article or change the or that kind of news, you know, you can't change the wording there, cancel it and stuff. And then it's basically the problem is reduced to the reputation ranking of that crypto oracle. So at least you have like this immutable layer of facts. And then you have now the reputation problem of those oracles. So you can like check like how you know, you can rank those crypto oracles. So, and of course it's not like a panacea or like solution to everything, but definitely it helps like with to make our information supply chain much more robust and improve its quality.
Okay, and maybe lastly, Balaji suggests that beta feeds and crypto history set are free. What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, it's like you need to you know, the winners write history, kind of, you know. It's like but it's like the reverse also. It's true, says Balaji, like you need to write history to be a winner, you know. But it's also like it's kind of true, like in various senses, like for example, you know, like people who control the present control the past, and people who control the past control the future, meaning like you know, the narratives about the past, and also like how the future will develop. So it's all kind of quoting Orwell. But it's also true in the case of like microhistory, let's say the like trajectory of some kind of rocket, you know. It's like it's basically, it's literally true in terms of control theory, says Balaji, meaning like you need to have a good control history and understand the path, the past state of the rocket to actually control where the rocket will land, you know. So it's like the civilization that has a better control theory, a better understanding of the past, in this kind of sense, that it has also a better future, like is able to land the rocket on the moon and land people on the moon. So it's like that's like one sense. And also like history, you know, like the crypto history will set us free. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you should understand the history of the moral innovation that you want to pursue. Let's say let's say like with FDA, you know, like it takes like 10 years to approve a medicine, and many people die, you know, with some rare diseases or something, like until some medicine is approved. And there is like this with AIDS and epidemics and the HIV/AIDS, for example, in the 80s, in the 90s, there are like movies like Dallas Buyers Club or something, that actually some very rare movies that actually criticize regulators, you know, like Ghostbusters is another movie or something, or you know, like but this Dallas Buyers Clubs is like very rare, because like they're criticizing basically the FDA, and you can see like these kind of like movements like ACT UP, or you know, for FDA to approve these medicines faster.
Mhm.
And it's very rare. So like you know, if there were like thousands of movies like these, then the world would be different, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, so that's like an example of why history matters, and also why crypto history matters, because it's more difficult to be tampered with and deleted and cancelled. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great point. And I think it's important also to note that the success of the ledger of record in reporting inflation can have a significant impact on the financial industry and help to promote transparency and accuracy in financial reporting. Jakub, if you don't have anything to add, thank you for joining me on Mtambo's Desk podcast.
Thank you, Dick. The pleasure was mine. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo's Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.